Here we go. Yes, sir. AP Top 25, man. The real poll matters out when it come out on Tuesday, man. That's the real poll. I'm going to have a full reaction to that. Crazy week again, y'all. College football. Yes. Yes. It's been crazy, man. So we're going to react to it, man. Big time, college football weekend. Upsets galore again. Let's find out, man. At 25, we got Memphis. They ended up beating Tulane pretty handily as well. Controlled the game, throttled them down. Didn't really have a lot of answers, man. Came up with the big stops when they needed the most. Army has continued to look pretty good this year, man. Give credit to them for their program. Their quarterback's been good. He runs the ball. He throws it. They having a really good year. Should be a lot of fun. All right, next up, Syracuse, man. Incredible win. I know some people don't like Fran Brown, but y'all got to give him credit and the offensive staff credit for how Kyle McCord has looked this year. Another really good game. Now, I know Miami defense has not looked good. They're going to have to address some things in the portal and their class because they got, when it mattered, they couldn't stop nobody. I hate to say it. They couldn't stop nobody. They got to figure that out. But nonetheless, man, Syracuse, give them credit, man. Give them praise, bro. You know what I'm saying? They was doing anything, man. They looked good all year. As far as that, just throwing the ball. His worst game was against Pittsburgh when he threw like 4 or 5 interceptions. But give them credit, man. Him, Trevor Payne came up big. We seen what he did to that Georgia Tech defense earlier in the season. Absolutely torched them. They're going to be one to watch, man. So shout out to Syracuse. Finished the season 9-3. They should have a pretty reputable bowl game. They're going to be a program to continue to watch moving forward. All right, next up, we got Missouri, man. Y'all know how I feel about them, but I'll leave it at that. Really good team. I still think they're a little overrated, but hey, the polls like them at 22. I'll leave it at that. All right, Illinois' big win against Northwestern, a game that struggled a little bit, but was able to kind of get it together, get some big stops late. They ended up beating them 38-28, man. Shout out to them for a big-time win, beating Northwestern. All right, next up, you got Colorado. Man, you feel for them. You was hoping, like, Utah would beat BYU or Arizona beat Arizona State. Just something massive that would have got them in, just to at least give Deion and them a shot. I talked about him and getting his praise in an earlier video today, and I still stand by that, man. But a great year, I thought, overall for them. 9-3 after going 4-8. Turned that program around. They're moving in the right direction. Landed a 5-star quarterback. Flipped a couple guys. They're going to flip London Merritt when it's said and done on the signing day. It's a lot that's going to happen and go right for Colorado. Coach Prime going to be in that portal as well. They had a really great season. Give them credit. Now, UNLV, they've had ups and downs this year as far as just dealing with so much within the program, but this is a good football team. Well coached as well. They're going to play Boise State for that championship. And likely, Boise State, they playoff hopes on the line. You know what I'm saying? Right now, they're looking good. They're going to probably get in, but you got to beat UNLV, and that's not an easy out. That's an elite opponent. I don't care what nobody say. That team is elite with what they do as far as their coaching, how they run that offense, defensively, how they can cover on the back end. That's a really good football team, man. So Boise State better be ready, and you better not play around. All right, next up, Clemson, man. They lost, obviously, late to Lenore Sellers. Had no answers for him. Shut him down for the most part in the passing game, but running game, and he ran all over him, man. Over 150-plus yards rushing. But Clemson, you get a chance to make it up. I think the first opponent that SMU has played this season that's actually formidable will be the Clemson Tigers. So if you're Clemson, you get to watch whatever happened with South Carolina. It doesn't really affect you in the conference standings. And now you get a shot to play SMU after Miami lost, which we'll talk about here in a second. And you get to right your wrongs. All right, next up, BYU, man. Another good season for them. Finished 10-2. Just lost those pivotal games. Kansas. Lost some pivotal games late in the season that really hurt them, but a pretty good team. Resclaff had a pretty good year. They can run the ball with Wilson, LJ. A good win for them at home against Utah, man. Just unfortunate, but a pretty good football team. Now, Iowa State, they handled their business against Kansas State. Again, a very difficult matchup with Avery Johnson, but they was able to force him to some mistakes, some turnovers, and that really mattered. And that dude that they got at the running back spot, Lord, he be running that rock, boy. You know what I'm saying? I think he had over 150 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. Yo, some serious. All right, next, Ole Miss. Have nobody to blame but yourself. And now the argument is, should a 3-loss SEC team, which we'll talk about it more here in a second, get in over a 2-loss Big Ten or a 2-loss ACC team? That remains to be seen. We're going to find out. But Ole Miss, I don't think deserves to be in. Lost to Florida, a game you probably should have won. Florida has been playing better football. But some of the losses inexplicable. 4-8 Kentucky team. You know what I'm saying? You also lost to at home. First time, I think, since 1978. I don't think Ole Miss should be in. No disrespect. They're flawed. They got a good quarterback, but big games, he always seems to struggle. Ole Miss should not be in, respectfully. Next up, my Hurricanes, man. I don't know either. Defense can stop nobody, bro. Like, they might get lucky to get in and maybe win the first round, second round, they'll get exposed. Like, when you play them elite opponents like a potential Oregon or a Texas, potentially even a Georgia, whoever wins the SEC championship, they're going to get exposed. They have no answers. You know what I'm saying? They don't. Cam Ward's been phenomenal. Xavier Strepo, unfortunate fumble, but Miami's just not a great defensive team, and that hurts you. Next up, South Carolina, who I do, and I did a video, and y'all blew it up, so shout out to y'all. I do think they deserve to be in. They're playing some of the best football right now in the country, and they've beaten formidable opponents. 4-1 on the road, we talked about in that video. That some of the elite opponents that they were able to beat. They did lose, obviously, to Alabama. You know what I'm saying? They lost to Ole Miss. I get it. But you can't tell me 11 teams that's playing better football than them right now in the country. You just can't. Next up, Arizona State, man. A great year for their program, man. They went 10-2 this year. Look very formidable. Sketable, I think, is their running back. He's been having a really great year, man. No answers for him. He makes defenses pay. Arizona State deserves to be in, I think, but they're going to have to – it's going to be hard for you to say a Big 12 team over an SEC team, unfortunately. So they got to handle their business. They beat Iowa State in the Big 12, get an automatic bid, get that bye, and then come out and play whoever they got to play. That's how I would do it if I was Arizona State. Now, Bama, handle business. Jalen Milroe looked like himself. There's running the ball. Whenever they run it and he's effective running the ball, they're tough to beat. You got to just be honest. They're tough to beat. Like, you don't have any answers for Bama when it's like that. But when they're struggling and, they make him more of a drop-back passer, that's just not their game. You know what I'm saying? And it sucks that it's kind of like, that's what it is, win or loss for them. But that's just the reality, humbly. You know what I'm saying? Do they deserve to be in? I just don't know. I don't know if I want to say that they deserve to be in. It's hard. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they deserve it. I definitely don't think they deserve to be in over Ohio State. Now, Ohio State had these struggles yesterday. We'll talk about that. But it's going to be an interesting conversation to see if Bama gets in. Now, I already talked about Boise State and the potential Heisman finalist in Ashton Jeanty and what he's been doing this season. But again, you're facing a tough UNLV team. You better come ready. Next up, Indiana, who I think deserves to be in the college football playoff. Look, y'all not finna say a team that lost one game to a superior opponent should not be in the college football playoff. They've been undefeated all year. Kirk Cignetti and that crew and that quarterback, Curtis Rourke, and that defense deserves to be in the college football playoff. Let's stop playing games. Let's give them their respect. They lost one game all year. I know y'all want to go on that strength of schedule BS. They lost one game. Come on, bro. Now, SMU, that's kind of a harder case to say, in my humble opinion, because they haven't really played a lot of elite teams. They just haven't. They play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's not even ranked in the AP poll no more. You know what I'm saying? That's a tougher conversation. Now, SMU, they got to handle their business. They're going to have to beat Clemson, And I don't know how many ACC teams they're going to put in. It could be just one. Maybe it's two. It's going to be an interesting conversation there because does a two-loss SMU team, if they lose narrowly to Clemson, deserve to be in? I don't know. KD Jennings having a good year, but that's a lot to ask for. Next up, Ohio State. Ugly loss at home, man. That's not good. Like I said, Ryan Day, 1-4. You know what I'm saying? Against Michigan, 47-1 against everybody else. That's a game you have to win. It's a rivalry. You got to win that, bro. You got to win that game. But maybe that's the wake-up call they needed. I think they deserve to still be in. I know they won't win a Big Ten championship, but that's an elite team. Like, we're not going to sit here and say Ohio State doesn't deserve to be in. Terrible performance. They let Davis Warren, who has been in and out of the lineup, torch him. You know what I'm saying? And offense was crap, but they deserve to be in. Next up, Tennessee, who likely is going to play Ohio State, maybe on the road. We'll see what happens as far as those rankings go. But Tennessee's a really good opponent. Nico's coming into his own. He's continuing to look good and make the throws that he needs to. Tennessee, I like where they look at. Now, I'm going to make my predictions later in the week. I'm not that high on Georgia. I'm just not. It's no disrespect to Bulldogs fans. I was at the game. I covered it. I covered Georgia Tech. Y'all got problems, bro. I said it in the video. Y'all got major issues that y'all need to work out. And I think Texas is going to expose them in the SEC championship game. Respect. Notre Dame, big win on the road against a rival, USC. Good job by Riley Leonard. Defense came up big, that 99-yard pick six. They are for real, man. Say what you want. I think they've played a formidable schedule. They deserve to be a high-end seed, humbly, for Notre Dame. Next up, Penn State handled business on the road against Maryland. Another big win for them. Big Ten championship. Could hand Oregon their first loss of the season. We will see. Cannot win the big game. Same kind of question that we have with Ole Miss and other opponents. Cannot win the big game. Can they finally do that? We're going to find out in the Big Ten championship. Texas is Texas, 17-7 win. They're elite. I think they're going to expose Georgia. And Oregon, only undefeated team in the FBS all year long. They are elite. Comment below, man, y'all thoughts.